Hey there, how are you? I figured I'd just hop on really quick here. How are you? How's your day been? Come on in. Hey. We're going to talk about how to spot a narcissist. We're going to talk about it really quickly because with all of this stuff, hey Malika, how are you, girlfriend? How's your day been? Hope all is well. Let's get into this because again, like I said, I won't be before you long as the preacher say, but you know that means this turns into 40 minutes. Just kidding. But wanted to hop on, and I just posted this. Doing good. That's good, Malika. Just posted this deal about gaslighting, whatever. But with all of this, you know, if you're not aware of this Derrick Jackson, for people who didn't know who Derrick Jackson was, they know exactly who he is now, right? And for those of you that don't know, I guess I don't even know if it's a recent scandal, but at least the world just got made wind of the fact that he was unfaithful to his wife. And you know, for many people, they're like, well, you know, people cheat. Got that. The challenge is that Derrick Jackson makes a living off of basically upholding what a good man is and giving women advice about how to have great relationships and basically positioned himself as the better guy, as the best guy. And like I said, I didn't follow him, haven't followed him for years. I followed him for a little bit initially because I'm like, oh, we're in the same thing. We're in the same space. People, you know, doing relationships. But he instantly was like, something's off here. And you know, just got out that game. But more than that, my first lady used to have a saying, actually she may still do. Lady Di used to always say, if you spot it, you got it, right? So the reason why somebody can tell you ad nauseum, like how, you know, people who are no good move, right? They got to have some connection to that, right? In some way, but he positioned himself as as being the guy that, you know, that women should want. And many women did want him, in fact. And for many women, they didn't realize he was even married, had children or anything because he positioned himself as a single man to his audience to sell books, games, image, marketing, whatever. That's neither here nor there. And I am praying for him and his lovely wife at this point because, again, there's a whole lot of things that are coming out. But more than that, his behavior is textbook narcissism. So if you look at him for no other reason, understand that it is textbook narcissism. And particularly this idea of gaslighting, which is the post that I just shared. And the reason, and one of the ways you can spot a narcissist, because many, again, big-hearted powerhouse women who want to help, who want to love people. And I don't know if you've ever felt like you've encountered a narcissist. Maybe drop in the comment. Have you ever been in a relationship with a narcissist? Ever? Just drop it in the comments. Have you ever been in a relationship with a narcissist? Hey y'all, hey. Drop that in the comments. And the reason why is because so often powerhouses, smart, successful women often are attractive or attracted to narcissists. And just using this case study again, because I think he's going to be a case study for a whole lot of people. Again, remember, as a love engineer, my whole mission here is to help us break down barriers and equip us with the tools and skills we need to build amazing relationships. Remember, like I said, be careful, be very careful, and myself included. Like I said, I know my walk as a love engineer, but be careful of anything and anybody, period, including present party, that would suggest to you that they have all of the answers for you, period. It doesn't even make sense. It is not possible. You are the authority on your life, and don't let anybody suggest to you differently. And I don't care who they are, preacher, internet guru, mama, dad, you know what you need. You know your life. You know what it is. And so often, and that's what hurts my heart so bad about, I mean, he had a million followers, right? A lot of people following him because what's so often in this relationship space is happening is people have never been taught how to do relationships, have no idea how to be in healthy, happy, solid relationships, and so are looking for someone to teach them. And I get that piece, right? And that's why I'm grateful to do the work I do as a love engineer. But again, be wary of somebody who knows the answers to all of your problems when you don't even necessarily know what the problem is. People can give you suggestions. People can give you ideas. As a love engineer, I'm like, here are some tools and principles on how things are built, right? It's like gravity isn't changing. Now, what you drop, up to you. But understand that. And so one of those tools and skills that one needs is to be able to spot somebody who is literally narcissistic. And you'll hear terms like love bombing. Love bombing is when this person gives you all the love, right? They are the sweetest thing ever. They're the best thing ever. And it's that too good to be true. Something feels unreal about it, but yet all of their action, they give, all the gifts, they say all the right things. It's perfect, right? Literally perfect. There is it's called love bombing. And up front, narcissists will give you everything, all the good stuff, and then on a dime, switch it. That's one way to spot them. The other thing is, and it gets a little further into the relationship, which is what Derek Jackson is now doing to his audiences, which is gaslighting. Gaslighting, which is the term made popular, I think it's from a novel or something like that, where what the guy would do is literally turn down the gas in the lanterns around the house, and so it would look dimmer to his wife. And when she would say something, he'd be like, no, it's not dimmer. There must be something wrong with you. But he, in fact, was turning down the gas and the light. Hence, the term is where gaslighting comes. But what gaslighting is when someone is attempting to make you believe that you crazy, or trying to make you believe that the way you see reality is not true. And so that's what he is doing to people, right? So it was clear that he was cheating on his wife. That was brought forward, but instead of admitting that, the first came out with, we had sexual relations, but we didn't have sex. I'm sorry, what? Hey, Kathy. And then it was, she was taking pictures of my feet. And gaslighting and narcissists are like one and the same. They will use fancy terms or try to, word salads and all of this stuff to confuse you, to make you rethink what reality is. It is like textbook narcissism, right? And so if you find yourself in a relationship or with someone and you're like, I know I heard you say X, Y, or Z. And then later they come, like, I never said that. That's not what I meant. You making up stuff. So they start to make you question your reality so that you ultimately rely on them to tell you what is reality, which is what starts to happen. And it gets consistent. Like, again, before you know it, you wake up and you're in a rabbit hole and you don't know what happens, because, again, the whole idea is to break you so that you are dependent upon them for your source of reality. So if you're in a relationship or ever find yourself in a relationship with someone and you are constantly having to question the way you see reality, know you might be in a relationship with a narcissist. And at first, and the reason why people stay so long is because, again, remember I said they start at love bombing. They give you everything. It feels so good. And you believe that. And that is true. So you remember how great you felt. And so then when they switch it, you're constantly thinking, I'm going to get back to that love bombing. It's going to be amazing. I must be doing something wrong. And if I fix me, then I'll get back to this amazing, loving, wonderful place. You are not going back to that place. They will not go back to that place because, again, it was bait. It's how you got in. And then they will spend the rest of your relationship breaking your confidence down, breaking your sense of reality down, disconnecting you from your family, friends, support structure, because they want to be your only source of truth, right? And that's, again, classic thing. And that's how come, which again makes my heart hurt so badly as I watch his wife do videos, or, even as he drug her out there. Mind you, people, for 9 years, this man has been, in the virtual space. And there are a lot of people that did not know he was even married. And yet the one time, hey Dale, the one time he gets in trouble, he drags this poor woman onto this public space with him, next to him, you know, holding her hand for dear life or whatever the case might be, as she, hey Ramona, as she is sitting there with the expected, like, now I'm helping him, I'm propping him up. Absolute crazy. People had, had all kind of things to say about like her appearance and whatever. Neither here nor there. Because I keep telling people, it's like, let's not forget, Beyonce was also cheated on, and she's arguably one of the baddest chicks walking this earth at this very moment. And so, should she have looked differently? Maybe. Would I go? No. But that has nothing to do with the real issue, and that's what gaslighting does. Narcissists deflect, right? Because so it quickly becomes your fault. During one of these topics, he, was like, well, there's people who put me on a pedestal, and maybe I gave them reason, but you should never put somebody on a pedestal, so it becomes your fault for that. And so if you find yourself, and I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship with anybody that is displaying any of these, being able to, one, call them on it, two, being able to clearly communicate what's happening and making sure that the lines of your relationship, that you are truly communicating. As I say all the time, so many people end up in relationships with their imagination. There is a version of who they think this person is, and then there's the reality of who they actually are. So if you constantly find yourself making excuses for why they're treating you a certain way, why you're feeling bad, or questioning again, are you just making this up? Again, you may be in relationship with a narcissist. As always, like, I feel so been there before. Yeah, so Kathy, a lot of people have, and like I said, it becomes an easy place to go, and so many powerhouses get caught up in it. Otherwise, smart, successful, brilliant women, and people are like, well, how did she end up in this spot? It's like, no. First of all, understand that one of the things that powerhouses are really good at is that we actually believe we can help in the most impossible situations. And again, which I teach my clients to break this pattern of like dating projects, right? Men, work on any project you want to, except project people. Do not sign up for project people. That never tends to work out, because nobody wants to be fixed. Nobody's actually broken. And when you sign up for project people, what you end up with is frustration, disappointment, and even if the relationship works, eventually you end up at resentment, because now you're like, I done did all this, and you never get back, ever. You never feel like you get back what you put in, ever, especially if your goal is to fix them or to make them better. And powerhouses have a thing about that, like trying to make somebody a better man, right? And society sells that to women. Nope, we don't do projects. We definitely don't do project people. It's like, it's a never-ending project. It absolutely is a never-ending project. And it's a slightly narcissistic position for you to play, actually, in the sense of, it's like, no, God created this person and you. And so it's like, for me, and I have been in that spot where literally I could hear the divine download. God is like, you are not God. Like, who are you to believe that you can actually fix this person when I, the creator, got them right where they are, or they are where they are and I am available to support them? How are you better than me in this regard, right? So yeah, so if you take nothing else from this, don't do project people. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you think I gotta fix them or make them better, then you are dating your imagination, and or you are you're not in relationship with the person in front of you. You are in relationship with your imagination, and that is the part that becomes really dangerous. Because in a healthy relationship, you respect and accept the person that's in front of you. In a healthy relationship, you are able to share what you desire, what you want, what you need. You're able to actually communicate with the person in front of you, not fearing that, oh my God, they're going to leave me because of me sharing my truth or me wanting or desiring something. And you don't feel bad in a relationship, in a healthy relationship, right? And so that's where, again, being able to communicate becomes really, really key. And speaking of, if you've not already DM'd me, there's a couple spots left in It's the Clip for me. Speaking of communication, so again, so you can avoid narcissists in general, because you can use your words to at least make sure you're asking the questions the way you need to. to make sure, again, you're not being love bombed or gaslit or whatever the case might be. So it's the clip for me is April 1st. Again, you'd be foolish at this point to not get in the game, because it's the clip for me is about healthy communication, right? Because again, like I said, we don't date narcissists. I just want to make sure you know how to spot them. But having healthy communication in really good relationships, even in the best relationships, communication has become it has always been a challenge. And people are like, well, before they didn't have an issue, I was like, can I let you in on a secret? Like back in the day, they didn't talk to each other a whole lot, right? He worked for 13 hours a day. She kept the house often. He came home. Guess what happens when you work for 13 hours a day? You hungry and you tired. So he ate, went to bed, got up and did that over and over again. They did that for like 30 years. That's how they were able to stay together for long periods of time, because they didn't spend a whole lot of time. Like think back to the long-term relationships you know, and think about when you saw them communicate. Think about when you saw them having to deal with major challenges. For many of us, we never saw it, right? Because again, it did not happen. Like came home, like in order to like be quiet, people wanted just be quiet. And you would if you spent 13, 12, 11 hours at the factory or wherever you worked for them periods of time. So men and women did not spend a whole lot of time together, and therefore they did not know how to communicate. Hence the reason we don't know how to communicate, because nobody modeled it, you didn't learn it, and you're now having to figure that out. But it doesn't have to be hard when you understand this. So I invite you to join me, and it's the clip for me. CLIT is an acronym. Get your mind out the gutter. DM me. I'll drop the image in the comments, but you DM me for the link for it, because there are ways to do everything. Communication is no different than that. And there was a gentleman who was actually on a post I was doing a live, and as I was talking, he was like, oh my God, you just blew my mind about the way I communicate with my wife. And I've been married for 23 years, right? Because being married does not teach you how to effectively communicate. Being married does not teach you relationship skills. How do we know Derek Jackson is actually a married man? Has zero skills to be able to have an amazing relationship, or at least is not practicing the skills he might have or the ones that he purports. So learning how to communicate is an actual skill like everything else, and understanding that men and women we all are speaking English. However, we don't realize that what I mean and what he means are often different things. And because we don't realize that we have different meanings, misunderstandings abound in our relationships. So it's not that, people shouldn't be together. It's not that they can't communicate. It's not that we don't. It's just that we honestly have never been taught how to effectively do it. So that's why I'm excited about It's the Clip for me. So join me in that. We talked about, again, how you spot a narcissist. If there's any questions, I see people in the comments. Hey, y'all. Hey. Drop your question. Like I said, let me know in the comments if you have a question. I'll stay for a minute to talk through that. But April 1st, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, there will be a replay if you sign up for it now, and know that after April 1st, the price goes away. It's only $69. $69 is the clip for me. Get it? No. but it'll be powerful, and it'll eliminate the repeat arguments that men and women, again, if you've ever argued over trash, where you want to go eat, if you've ever been talking to your partner or in a relationship where you're speaking and they can repeat back to you the words that you said, but in your heart of hearts, you know they don't understand at all what you meant. It's the Clip for me will help clear that up, because again, like I said, so often, and even in just basic things, we don't realize that men and women are talking. But talking doesn't mean you communicate, right? Communicate requires you to have an understanding, which is so often a gap because we don't realize that we mean something different. Like take what's up, right? To prove what I'm saying is, like, if I say what's up, what am I meaning? What's up? What's up? What's up? Same words. What's up? Only 2 words. However, what I mean by what's up, there's at least 4 meanings, at least 4. And you have to be able to know clearly which one I'm referring to, because if you don't, then the answer or response you give me is going to be off. It varies depending on the meaning. You get my point there? Men and women talk like that all the time. They just don't realize that that's what's happening, and that's how come there's confusion. Because like, I said this, he said that. Hey, yes, and don't realize that there's a difference. So nevertheless, join me And it's the clip for me. Like I said, it'll change your whole love life. Again, whether you dating, whether you're married. It's the first co-ed class I've had in a while where there's married and single folks. Because my married folks were like, everything is just for singles. Married folks, this is for y'all. Y'all get to come as well, because marital status is not a factor in whether or not you can communicate. Period. That's what I do know, is that marriage gives you an opportunity to communicate. It does not necessarily teach you how to communicate. And while every partner is different, like I said, my thing is not about, remember, again, as an engineer, I'm like, here's the principles, here's some tools, build what you want to build. But at least you know you can build it so that it lasts. And that's what my heart is as the love engineer. Because like I said, gone are the days we're looking for somebody to tell you the answers. Like they don't even know your problem. But no matter what the problem is, if you got a calculator, you can get the answer to whatever things you trying to add, put together, subtract, take away. If you have the right tool, you can always get to an answer. And if I can show you how to use the calculator, then again, the addition, whatever additional problems, subtraction problems, multiplication, divisions you get to, you can successfully do it. And that's how I do everything as a love engineer. It's like, I am here to give you the tool and show you how to use that. You create whatever you want, get whatever formula you want to get to, but communication is a fundamental skill. It's kind of like adding and subtraction. Once you know how to do it, you can do a whole lot of other things. So nevertheless, y'all, let me know what your thoughts are. I'll see some of y'all in It's the Clip for me. Others of you, hopefully this prevented you from, or at least helps you better, feel like you're better equipped to identify a narcissist. Remember, love bombing, gaslighting. Those are the two telltale signs. So at the beginning, if it feels too good to be true, check it. See if it's consistent. See if it plays out. If it starts to change over time, and with a narcissist, it will change over time. Like once they feel like they got you hooked, they will flip, like drastically flip on you. And then gaslighting is, again, if you're constantly in a relationship and you're questioning whether or not you heard something right, if you saw it right, or they're making you believe they didn't say it the way that you heard it, or you may literally be in a relationship with a gaslighting. And that's why the communication course becomes really important as well, because then you know what healthy communication looks like, so that this unhealthy version, and gaslighting is very much so unhealthy, as a whole, you know what it is, and you know to get away. Because it's not that you won't encounter them, because again, they're in the world. They are very much so in the world, but being able to spot it and move away from it, so much easier, because if you don't, you get into it and then you don't realize it, but you are fighting to change your own mind about who they are, because you can't believe you were wrong at the beginning, and then years go by. And then you're in this really dark place. And, if you're in a relationship with narcissists, like people come out and have to literally rebuild themselves, because the internal breakdown of many women is really painful. Flip side, women are also narcissistic as well. So I don't want any brothers DMing me like, well, women, yes, everything that men can do, women can do as well. There's no question about that. But since powerhouse women is usually who follow me, that's who I'm talking to. So nevertheless, y'all, hope all is well. Hope you got something great going on this week. And if nothing else, something made you smile. So go in love.